Chris Level here with another edition of Pirate Talk. Pleased to be joined on this edition by the head basketball coach, Will Flemons. Big-time personality, great guy, all that stuff. We're going to get an update on their season. They've got about 7 games left, I think, if I've done the math correct, and in the middle of a district race and all those things. So we'll talk about a variety of things. I did want to thank Texas Tech Federal Credit Union for sponsoring these podcasts. We certainly appreciate that. If you're interested in following anything about Coach Flemons' basketball program, at Basketball LCP is where you can find them on Twitter and check the district Twitter and social media accounts at Athletics LCP on Facebook, Twitter, all those kinds of things. So, okay, 14-11 overall, 2-3 in district. It's not where you want it to be.
Correct.
Yeah. Are you? Let's just talk through emotions right now, because you are a positive guy. Are you frustrated? Are you optimistic? Are you all the above? Kind of take me through. Just be an open book here.
Well, I think being a competitor, you're frustrated because it's not where you thought you'd be at this point.
Okay.
But the good thing about it is you have kids that are trying hard. We don't always make the right decisions, but you know that it's not because it's a lack of effort. You can do a lot of different things, and you can change a lot of things if you got some guys that's willing to work hard, and I think we do. If you remember last year, we kind of started slow again. I don't know what it is about starting off and kind of finish strong the way we needed to. Like you said, we're 2-3. We're tied for the 4th spot right now. So, it's still time to change and right the ship, and that's what we're working on right now. You speak of turning the ship a little bit we did some film sessions today. And it's very helpful in the sense, now it wasn't a got you session. It wasn't that you did this wrong. It's to show and to teach. The reason why we do certain things defensively, anytime you're playing defense, man ball defense, you jump to the ball every single time. It helps you. It stops people from cutting across your face, stop people from posting up on you, getting the upper hand. And we didn't do that. We didn't do our defensive assignments. And you go back and you look at last night's game, we lose by 5 or 6. We missed 7 free throws, and we're averaging about 20 turnovers. And, just take half those turnovers in half and just step up and make, out of those 7 you miss, just make 3 of them. You win the game.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where we're not happy where we are. Just hang around. It'll change.
Yeah. And so, we talked to you before the season even started. How did non-district go for you? Because I thought for the most part, you had a pretty good non-district schedule, and it took care of your business, and a lot. You played in the Constellation Championship game with Cap Rock, so have done some positive things. But now we're dropped in the middle of district play. But take me through non-district and how we got to this point.
Well, I think non-district is important for us if we're going to want to be successful in the late part of the season. District, we play some tough teams. We had Friendship, we had Tascosa, we had Emerald High. Oh, yeah. Then you had Dallas Carter, and we competed, and that's what you want. You want guys that's going to come out and compete. Don't roll over because their name may be bigger, or they're synonymous with being basketball tradition. Prove to us now that you say who you are and you are who you are. We're going to make you play hard. That's our mentality. Handle hard better. If you can't go in there and have a challenging schedule and come out and feel good about yourself because you competed, it doesn't help us down the road. I think our preseason schedule was hard, and it was awesome because it's preparing us for what we're doing now. A lot of people don't know this. Our first 5 or 6 games has been on the road in district.
No, I've looked at your as we dive in. First of all, before we get off of non-district, you also played a team from Australia that had a 7-footer, and then had a kid. You guys won the game, but they also had a kid that was about 6'7", 6'8" that dunked it from. I mean, I was like, oh my! And when you got that schedule, you didn't know who's walking in here. I don't know if you remember Chris Anstey from the Mavericks years ago. He's the only. Andrew Bogut. I'm trying to think of some of the Australian guys, but they had some long dudes. But yeah, you kind of were all over the place with your non-district schedule with different teams and sizes and all those things. Yeah, so your district schedule has been unique. And again, if we're into excuse making, we say, 3 Tuesday games in Abilene. Okay, your first half of the schedule is on the road, and your back half is all at home. And you're not using that as an excuse. It's just it's a
what
fact.
it is.
But how did it get to be like kind of like so? Not there's no happy medium there.
No, it's not.
How did it? Is that just this is hey here's your schedule? Or
You draw numbers for each team in the district, and we just happen to draw, I want to say 3 or 4, and so they made it off that draw, and we were just on the road. But if you think about it, the girls start a week before us, and we pair off with the girls. So the girls had a couple of early home games. We missed those because it was prior to that.
okay, yeah, okay.
So it comes back on the back end of it. We'll get our home games and
Because
get
your
ready
5
to
of your last 6 are at home.
play. Absolutely.
Yeah, so the old red box needs to be full on some of those. But, yeah, and you're just trying to weather the storm there.
Absolutely.
And it's trying to keep your head above water and I mean, all the stuff. Because whether we want to say this or not, games are sometimes they're officiated differently, home and the road. Kids react differently to different rims. I mean, there's all kinds of dynamics home and away. And, it's just comfortable. Like you're get to shoot around in your home gym and just kind of all that stuff. Take me through the district race. You play Monterey this Friday night, and they are currently leading the district.
Absolutely.
But then there's just a lot of similarities with these teams. But kind of take me through same as, because it looks like everybody's similar to the other.
Oh, it is. You're looking at Monterey. They don't have a lot of size, but their guard play is phenomenal.
Okay.
Brantley, number 2, I think he's possibly leading the league in scoring. He's averaging like 22. They have all different other type of guards. I can't remember names, but number 1 for them is shooting the ball exceptionally well. Number 15 is kind of their glue for their team. He does a tremendous job for them. And they are a guard-oriented team, but do a lot of tremendous things. As far as when they play bigger guys, they're going to trap the post, they're going to deny their, different things. So you have to be prepared. Then after we play them, we're going to start right back over again. We play Lubbock High, and I know they're struggling right now, but on any given night they can beat anybody. They got a big guy on the inside, and got
He's very
some,
good. Yeah.
very good, solid, and they got a freshman point guard that
Peyton Reed.
absolutely, and he's getting better at each game, and it's quite naturally, when you have that first shock of that first wave of district games against these juniors and seniors, you kind of get worn down a little bit. But he got a great makeup. And then we come back and we play Coronado. That they're probably the fastest athletic team in this league.
Is that game? How much sleep did you lose over that one?
Let's just say.
I'm going to answer my question. I'm sure there was a lot. Yeah, those are the games that just drive coaching.
Oh, yeah.
You had a big lead, and it obviously didn't end up the way you wanted it to.
And that's what you just said is absolutely true. We go at one point when we're playing Coronado, we're up 17. Okay, by half we still got a 13-point lead. Third quarter has been our nemesis for a while. I mean, the game's almost tied. We fight a little bit. Fourth quarter, we're up a little bit and come roaring back at us, and then we do some uncharacteristic things that I thought uncharacteristic seems to be characteristic now. We're turning the ball over right and left. It's hard to win if you're turning the ball over at crucial points because you can't recover. You can recover the first quarter, the fourth quarter you can't recover those, and so that's what it comes down to.
Do you because so much of no shot clock
Right.
in your sport? We've talked about this at the high school level, but so much of it is just it's mental. Yeah,
Yes,
right.
yes.
And like the mental discipline of what's a good shot versus what's not. When how many times do we pass it around and kind of work the clock before we? And it's I watched you guys against. I guess it was last week. It was last Friday night against
Wiley.
Well, yeah, I believe Wiley, and. Your team plays pretty hard and fast-paced at times, but sometimes it's actually very difficult to slow it down and then not kind of play the game when you're trying to. And so that comes with just maturity and and
does.
all kinds of things with that. But take me through that dynamic and working through situational stuff with your kids.
Well, I think one of the things we try to do right off the bat is we want to make the game exciting for the guys to get out and run and play and use their natural abilities.
Yeah, right.
And so, we want to get the ball up and down, but it comes a time, like you say,
Take the foot off the gas.
you have to. You have to have a balance. And I think you hit it on the head when you said you have to be disciplined and understand situations. I think that's one of the key things, understanding the situation of the game, understanding the time of the game, understanding the score of the game, and probably one of the most important things, who has the momentum.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't recognize when we've lost momentum. We're still going 100 miles an hour and we don't have the momentum. I think those are crucial elements that we have to get better at. And, again, like that game last Friday against Wiley, we jump out on them 20, cut it back to 17. Then they cut it to 6 at one point, and then we pull ahead about 12 and win the game. But we got to have those guys that understand that. I can't yell it from the sideline because I can't play anymore. And I'm like, slow down. Got to have somebody in the middle. And, from the fans looking out there, they're like, what's going on? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Defense is designed to speed you up, and we're falling right into the trap.
Yeah, I mean, and good guards, that. Good guards, man, they make the difference. Let's talk about your team a little bit. I've watched Amari. He's obviously your leading scorer. I think sometimes consistency can be an issue with him, but when he's on, it's impressive to watch. And I know you guys feed off of that when he's having one of those games where he just can't. But he can put them in from anywhere, and it's averaging about 16 a game or so. But kind of take me through his season, and you're still working with him on the consistency part. You don't want to see this as much. You want to see this.
Correct.
But yeah, take me through.
Well, I think early on in the year, Amari was our whole show. If he got off to a great start, man, we're good. If he got off to a rocky start, we were in trouble. I think he's learning it. It's been a process, and it's always a process when you come from a background you're used to scoring, and then people do different things defensively at you. Right now, our league is really hot on face guarding and just absolutely just turning their back to the ball. We're not going to let you touch the basketball. Somebody else is going to beat us, but we're not going to let you. And one of the things I'm telling Amari right now, you can't still go that 100 miles an hour speed. Slow down. Set a screen for a teammate. If you set a great screen for a teammate, who's going to be open? He looks at me. I go, you will be open if you set a great screen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, so we're trying to make sure that we teach him the right way of how to handle things. And sometimes it gets frustrating because you know how the game's played, whether it's football, basketball, whatever sport. It's a little jaw talking going on, and if you're not mentally prepared for it, they'll get to you, and you'll do something crazy, and the ref always going to catch the second guy, and that's happened a couple times. Yeah. But an explosive talent. He's got one of the best mid-range games in the city. Elevates so high, but then what happens when people start taking that away? What can you do?
Yeah.
And so we're working on other aspects of the game for him.
Yeah, and speaking of the jaw talking, I've watched a lot of high school basketball this year, boys and girls and all that stuff. But my advice, nobody will hear it, nobody will care. But, my advice to young people out there, 2 words, say less.
Absolutely.
Say less.
Yeah, I agree.
The scoreboard talks. There's adults and coaches in the stands. They can see the score. They know who's good, who's not, who's faking it, all that stuff. Say less. Okay. That's soapbox. I'll step off of it now. Anyways, okay. This is the old guy in me. Sorry. It drives me crazy sometimes. It's like you got people out there that are not really playing that well or doing anything for their team, and they're saying the most. I'm like, it's not. Yeah, it's not the way it's supposed to work. Okay. So, and I thought part of your non-district stuff, Braden Tommy, he missed 3 weeks. There was an ankle. There was a heel injury. Some different things. He's kind of one of your key cogs. Dane Collier, I think, has been really good for you. But kind of take me through some of the glue guys. Connor Gant, so take me through some of the glue as far as those guards that we were talking about.
Well, I think Tommy Braden has been a sensational player for us once he's healthy. Like he started out the season, he's been healthy, and he was doing his thing. I mean, he's running the floor hard. He got him playing on the inside and underside as post player, so he can use his quickness and he uses it to his advantage.
He's really good at it too.
Very good. Absolutely, he does. One of the things I love about him is when we get in close, he can use his body so well and draw the contact and still finish. And that's a plus for young players today. And I think he does a tremendous job. Kind of his MO is like he starts out really good for us and he gets hurt and we just kind of nurse him and get back in that form again. And that's what we're kind of working on right now. He's been out, like I said, 3 weeks with that heel. And we're slowly starting to implement him back in because we don't. Bottom line, I love basketball, love to win, but it's not at the risk of our kids' health. We're going to have him healthy before I put him on the floor. So he's one of our glue guys. And then, Dane Collier's played well for us at times, and he has picked up the slack. And when he has an open shot, he can knock it down. And he's done a tremendous job. We're playing him at the 1 and the 2. And I know sometimes he gets tired, but I'm like, okay, that's when you have to initiate the offense sooner so you can get the ball out of your hands. Young players are still today, I got to have that ball in my hand. I got to have the ball in my hand. And what they don't realize, if you can start the offense and get that ball out of your hand, the sooner the better off your team will perform. And so we're again, it's a work in progress. Last year he was a JV player. This year he's getting thrown into the fire, and he's learning game by game. And with him doing that and learning each night and each day, we're going to get better, and we're going to get better down that stretch. We're going to hit that stretch where we're going to really be really tough. People are not going to want to play us. Another guy in our stable that is doing a tremendous job is Connor Gant. He's paid his dues. Last year he was on varsity early on, didn't get a lot of playing time. As the year went on,
he got bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those things that people don't realize about Gant is he's my defensive stopper. I'll put him on a guard. I'll put him on the post. I'll put him on anybody out there because I know he can get the job done. He's mean enough to get it done, and he's basketball savvy enough to get it done. So he's one of my guys that we need out there a lot of the time. And like I said, he is playing lots of minutes, so his dues is paid off. Playing behind those guys like a Pat Irish and all those guys, it's paying off for him now.
And you had to incorporate 3 football guys, Coulter Lynch, Holton Hendricks, and then Sam Marcinkowski. Late November, early December, kind of in that's a process.
Yes, it is.
They hadn't had a ball in their hands. They're kind of walking around like a robot and kind of all that stuff, and then in football shape, and it's like they're getting, and that's just it's a process. But Coulter, one of your 4 seniors, I guess in the game last night, he goes for 10 points, and he's got some hoops IQ that goes with it. You could just tell he knows how to play.
He is one of the guys that, let's take it for what it is. Coach's kid. He's been around sports all his life.
Yeah, Corey does a great job for your JV team.
He does. And, it's funny how him coming to play for me this year, right before football is over, he comes in my office. He said, Coach Flemons, got to talk to you. And I said, absolutely. Come on and have a seat. He said, I missed it last year. And I'm like, okay. He goes, I know it'd have to be a tryout. I said, are you talking about coming out trying out for basketball? He said, yes. I said, well, I'll tell you this. You come out to try. I said, I'll be fair about it. I'll give you an explanation if you make it. Give an explanation if you don't make it. Yeah. I said, all I ask is you come out and do your best. He said, I think that's fair. Okay. And so he came out, great feet, big guy, moves, understands body control. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I think you got a spot on this team. And he's done a tremendous job. Like last night, we're at Lubbock-Cooper, and Lubbock-Cooper has a couple big guys. One that's very good from last year's team, and we put Coulter on him. I mean, we held him way below his average. Coulter scored 10 points for us. So he had 5 buckets. Was a presence on the inside. One time, it was a funny moment. They're getting ready to shoot free throws. And the big guy from Lubbock-Cooper standing next to Coulter, I ain't going in there too hard, so I'm good. so I'm like, you're doing your job, Coulter. You're doing your job. But he's a pleasant guy to be around. Yes, sir, no, sir. Understands. The thing I love about him is, he's coachable. If he doesn't understand, he'll ask.
Okay, yeah,
that's huge.
Communication, yeah,
absolutely.
That's exactly right.
So I just loved the opportunity to get a chance to coach him. And then you talked about those other 2, Sam Marcinkowski, Holton Hendricks. Those are those guys that we're going to put in. We're going to get him in basketball shape. Sam is about there. Holston just went down with an ankle injury, so he's slowly starting to come back. But Sam, he's one of those guys, again, run through the wall for you. You know what you're going to get with Sam. He is going to go 100 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah, no.
All the time.
If somebody's standing there or not, it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that I love about him is, Coach, I want to guard him. Best player on the team.
Yeah,
I want to guard him.
Okay, yeah, that's the right kind of mentality,
Absolutely.
that alpha that you're looking
Absolutely.
for. And you know, Hayden Bradley is one of your other seniors, and there's times where Hayden's footwork is, I'm like, it's kind of jaw dropping. It's like he's got really good footwork, and there's times where he just, you know, I think it's a consistency issue at times, but that's what all players deal with. But when he's on, he really can help you. And he plays so much bigger, and he's got a soft touch, and you know, because against Wiley, I thought he had a really good game. It was last Friday night, double-digit scoring, and all those kinds of things.
Well, you know, like I said, if he's on and focused and in tune to it, boy, he can be a big help for us.
Yeah.
Against Wiley, you know, 12, 14 points, 8 or 9 rebounds. Those are the things we need from him every night.
I know, yeah.
Night in, night out. And he's more than capable. It's that focus aspect of it. Does he approach it and go hard the way he did against Wiley?
Yeah.
Why does it change? And that's some of those questions we ask. And it's, you know, nothing behind the scenes. We're just, I need that person to play like he played at Wiley all the time. It's there. It's in you. Go do it. Go do it. Go do it.
You sound like Colton, who produces these podcasts, trying to like, hey man, well, I need some consistency with these podcasts, man. It's just too up and down, man. Come on, Chris, you need to be better. I'm trying, Colton. I promise. I'm trying. I appreciate but no, that's we all deal with that, trying to be steady in life. Absolutely. And trying to be the best at all the times. What's your message kind of with these? Because is there a sense of urgency here with these last? I mean, because you can kind of see the finish line, and especially with these four seniors, this is it. There's no more games to play after this, or when you get in the playoffs.
Well, we had a talk last night after the game, and it was more of those come to Jesus meetings where you go, okay, you 4 seniors, you realize February 14th could be our last game.
Yeah.
You know, and that's hard to understand.
Career-ending stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I said, but you can change this. That's the power of having to play basketball day in and day out, and we're still early in the season. You can change this. And then I approached the younger guys. I said, you juniors, you see where they are right now. This will be you next year. Your job right now is to help the seniors build those great memories so these other young guys under you can help you build memory. That's how it works.
There's a responsibility with being an underclassman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember talking to your team way back before the season in your locker room and everything, which is, you know, sacred spot and athletics in general. But I remember saying, you're going to look up. It's going to be mid-February before, and here you look up, and here it's just kind of right there. And so only so many opportunities left. Okay, so do you feel like your team, before I let you get out of here, do you feel like your team has an identity right now? Do you feel like you know who you are, or are you still kind of in some nights trying to figure out who that is? Because you've talked about we play hard, and maybe that is your identity, and like you play to that. But just take me through your kind of thought process now that we're toward the end here.
Well, before we say that I will say the key word that we've been talking about in this podcast. Yeah. Is consistency.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're going to play hard. We may not play right, but we're going to play hard. Now, when we play right and hard, we're a tough team. Yeah. And so that's what I would say. We know we're going to play hard because that's one of the things that I'm going to coach hard. I expect my players to make sure they reflect me on the floor. And I can't do anything just going half speed. Yeah. And so they're going to play hard. Now, the consistency part of it is we got to play hard and play smart the way we know how to play, the way we practice. If we can do that and it's coming together, when we get it all in line and clicking, teams got to watch out because we are coming. What did Deion Sanders said?
There's no telling. Okay, there's a lot of things is what the answer to that question. But yeah, we're coming. And there was the movie quote, "And heck is coming with me." That's a tombstone line if you're into old westerns. Yeah. So, well, Coach, good luck. Everybody's pulling for you. I mean, again, a lot of home game opportunities left.
Absolutely.
And I know you guys will try to maximize those. And for your seniors, I know that their sense of urgency will certainly be there. So hopefully those underclassmen help everybody elevate and all that stuff. But and you know what? Limit turnovers, make some free throws. Amazing how much easier the game gets, right?
It
That's
does.
right.
It does.
Well, Coach, appreciate the time.
Thank
man.
you very
There he
much.
is.
Appreciate you.
There's Will Flemons for Chris Lovell for Colton Coons. Thanks for listening to Pirate Talk.